What is the latest in Pittsburgh, PA, Adam? I mean,
the latest is that Jesse James had the best description of it that we heard of anybody say, that the Steelers have turned into the Kardashians of the NFL. That's basically it, right? Like, we've seen this whole situation go crazy. I think it's worse than people think. I think there's more to it than people think and know. And when you talk to people around the league, there's the overwhelming sense that the Steelers are going to wind up trading Antonio Brown this offseason, that he's played his last game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we'll see what that's right. Now, I don't think that they're planning that today. I don't think they've discussed that today. But I think that there's a prevailing feeling that that's the direction that this is going to go in. And I think Antonio Brown's going to be happy with that, too.
Well, so what is your first blush thought on what a market would be like for him?
It's not hard to figure out, Rich. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys traded a first-round pick for a wide receiver who was 7 years younger. And Mari Cooper was 7 years younger, 24 years old. Antonio Brown's 31. Antonio Brown has 3 more years on his contract, and I'm sure, by the way, when they landed a new place, if they landed a new place, he'll want a new contract anyway. But the contract as it is right now would be relatively friendly compared to his production. You're talking about 6-7 straight years of 100-plus catches, unparalleled production at the wide receiver position. He's produced like no other player in the game over the last half dozen years. So from that standpoint, it's all there. Cooper goes for a 1. Brandon Cooks last offseason, the Rams traded their 1 for Cooks and a 4.
Yep.
So, I mean, that gives you an idea of what a guy who's produced more than those other guys should be worth. Now, if there are multiple teams, maybe it goes higher than a 1. If there's not as many teams, maybe it goes lower than a 1. But I think that's the rough baseline area that you could expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to get back for a player like Antonio Brown should they follow through and go ahead and auction him off.
And then there's the issue of obviously burning $21 million for a player that they would not have on their roster. Obviously, they would get some savings on their cap after getting him off for future years, but it just doesn't strike me as the Steelers. I guess it would be such an addition by subtraction that they would have $21 million of just dead money on their cap going into next year.
What I would say to that, Rich, would be this: that the cap has risen so much to where it could be $190 million. And yes, that handicaps you some to a certain extent. But in this league, it's not about the cap, it's about cash. And teams can do anything they want with the cap. They can soften the blow in any year they want by restructuring as many contracts as they want, by basically finagling the cap. To swallow and eat $21 million in dead money is really not a big deal, as much as it sounds like it's a big deal. Because they would free up some of the money. They would make it up through other restructures. Don't forget that they're going to have the Le'Veon Bell money that comes due. So Le'Veon Bell money offsets Antonio Brown money to a certain extent. And it's not difficult to find that space if that's what they want to do, which I think that's ultimately, if you listen to Mike Tomlin and read between the lines yesterday, that seems like they're certainly contemplating it right now. They'll have further discussions about it, and we'll see where it all leads this offseason. But I think most people think it's going to leave with Antonio Brown getting out of Pittsburgh.
Last one for you here, Adam. If your best guess on what's going through Art Rooney's temples today, knowing that obviously his quarterbacks got some fingerprints on this, and then there's a head coach that has let something like this go on. I mean, it's best he tried to put a cap on it. This has obviously been something that didn't just crop up in the last week to 10 days.
No, this has been going on for a while, and they've allowed this to grow and fester and become what it's become. It's so un-Pittsburgh-like. Like, if we were talking about this being another wide receiver, we wouldn't think very much of it. We covered stories like this for years with Terrell Owens, and it became par for the course, whether it was in Philly or Dallas or San Francisco or wherever. But when do we get drama like this in Pittsburgh? And it's been a year of drama with Le'Veon Bell, with the offensive line saying we don't need him, we're better without him, with this Antonio Brown incidents. I mean, that's not the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's weird. And so I don't know whether that comes back to Art Rooney or Mike Tomlin or Ben Roethlisberger or Le'Veon Bell or Antonio Brown or a combination of all of them for letting it get to that point. And, shame on everybody. Everybody deserves some blame here. But they've taken what was a proud franchise, what was a winning franchise, and made it one that everybody's mocking and wondering what's gone wrong and laughing about them not making the playoffs.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.